Here's a look at your daily market report on this Wednesday, the 29th day of October. A new day and new headlines to talk about, but at least today, most of those headlines are on the positive side. At midday, grain contracts are mixed, but some good news came overnight with the reports of China finally buying some soybeans this calendar year. Only about 2 cargoes, so in the big picture, that would amount to less than a scoop shovel full for most producers. That being said, the psychological effect, however, is really good, and it's a good sign that we're finally getting some beans headed to China. Most of that, as mentioned, was figured into the market earlier this week, it appears, though, however. On the livestock side, the cattle contracts all sharply higher today. On headlines that came out earlier this morning. We had to go all the way to Mexico, however, to get those headlines, as nothing was released from D.C. today. But the Ministry of Agriculture in Mexico did report on his meeting with Brooke this week, our Secretary of Agriculture. And although it was reported that there has been some significant progress, for the time being, there is no timeline whatsoever on when those Mexican gates will open and allow cattle to come into the U.S. That gave the contracts, cattle and feeder, a good shot in the arm this morning. And although we're still way behind on the losses from the last couple of weeks, at least we are seeing some significant green this morning. Taking a look at what's going on around the state today, early listings are minimal as many of the auction barns and producers have just held off on marketing due to what happened earlier this week at sale barns around. They decided to wait things out, and if we can keep this upturn going, that might have been a good move for them. Springfield Livestock Marketing Center today, they're expecting about 800 head. Nothing at Windsor today, nothing at Green City. Now, it was already an off-scheduled week for Green City today. No early listings from Vienna or Farmington yet this morning. This weekend, Saturday, Mocan Livestock Market, their monthly replacement cow sale. It'll take place just right after lunch at 1 o'clock. They've got about 1,000 head on their early listings there. And, of course, being the first Saturday of the month, time for the monthly hay auction at Golden City. It'll get kicked off at 10 o'clock, and they have a big listing already developing there for hay. Quite a bit of average to better quality cow hay, all the way up to some really good quality horse and dairy quality hay will be offered. Taking a look at what happened at the auction barns around the state on Tuesday. 4 state stockyards in Exeter, 1,170 head. Feeder steers and heifers there, 20 to 40 lower. SEMO livestock sales in Jackson, 475 head, $25 to $40 lower there. Interstate regional stockyards in Cuba, light run, 543 head. The market there was called $30 to $50 lower. Ozarks Regional Stockyards in West Plains, they ended up with 1,334 head through the barn, another 523 head sold over the video auction. The yearlings at West Plains, 20 to 30 lower, calves 40 to 60 lower. F&T Livestock Market in Palmyra, 1,070 head. They haven't had any recent tests to provide a comparison. However, the market there, sharply lower undertones as well. Lawley Brothers Livestock Market in Macon, 1,075 head there compared to 2 weeks ago. Steers, $30 to $40 lower. Heifers were called 20 to 30 lower. A few stick-out sales of some reputation heifers there. A load of 618-pound heifers. These were tagged as replacement quality, $385.50. Had 2 loads of 720-pound heifers. They sold at $350 even. Now, that compares back to 2 weeks ago. Some consignments of the same type of heifers off the same farm. They sold at $379.50 2 weeks ago. 41 head of 823-pound heifers at Lawley's, tagged as replacement quality, $328. Kingsville Livestock Auction, they had 1,980 head on Tuesday. The calves were called $25 to $50 lower, yearlings $25 to $40 lower. The steers, medium and large ones, 4.5 to 5 weights at $370, 2.5 to $438. 5 to 6 weights at $370 to $419. Some 6 to 7 weights at $364 to $395. Some 7 to 750 pound steers at $340, 2.5 to $360. 8 to 850 pound steers at 347.5 to 358. Feeder heifers weighing 400 to 500 pounds at 379 to 422.5. 5 to 6 weights at 335 to 387. Some 6 to 7 weights at 320 to 348. Some 8.5 to 9 weight heifers, 296 to 309. Box beef cutout values continue to climb higher. Choice up $2.48 at $382.13. Select up $1.28 at $361.28. Those values based on 89 loads of cuts, trimmings, and grinds. The Choice Select spread at $20.85. Negotiated feedlot trade continued to add a few head to the weekly total. 34,766 head now. Still nothing reported in Texas for the week. Kansas only reporting 146 head so far. Iowa's up to 12,028 head. Nebraska, 20,360 head. In the north, those live sales mostly at 230. Dress sales have been from 355 up to mostly 358 to 360. Taking a look at the futures markets at midday on the Mercantile Exchange, live cattle, October up 520, 232.70. December up 505, 231.62. February up 620 at 230.30. Feeder cattle, October 347.47, that's up 337. October 343.65 up 10.25. January 335.67 up 10.80, and all the rest of those contracts further out up over $10 as well. Lean hogs for December down a dime, 80.72. February down 7, 82.37. April down 22, 86.65. On the Board of Trade, corn contracts at midday, they're currently unchanged to a penny and a half lower. December at 4.32, March at 4.44 3/4, May at 4.53 1/2. Soybeans are mixed from fractionally lower to fractionally higher. November 10.79 1/4, January 10.95, and March beans at 10.11 or at 11.06 3/4. Been a long time since we said 11. That's hard to spit out. Wheat contracts are fractionally higher to fractionally lower at midday. Some of the further out contracts into next spring, 3 to 4 cents lower. December 5.29 1/2, March at 5.45 1/4, and May at 5.55 3/4. Soybean meal for December, $4.10 a ton higher at $310.60. Soybean oil for December down 10 cents a hundredweight at $50.16. With the Missouri Department of Agriculture, that's your daily market report for Wednesday. This is Tony Hancock.